the one piece of career advice you wish someone had given you when you were starting out?
I think it's probably something very basic, like just be yourself. I think your uniqueness and your strengths are your biggest asset. Like, chances are, if you're employed somewhere, then you're adding value for that exact reason. But I think when you're early into your career, it's kind of easier to fit in and just go with the mold. So I think, probably find out what your strengths are in the first instance. Obviously, if you're new into your first job, you might not necessarily know what they are. But speaking to people, getting feedback, finding out where you excel, and also what you enjoy. Because generally, if it is a strength, then you probably enjoy it. But just working to your strengths.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't do that. Not necessarily work to the strengths, but as you say, when you're early in your career, I can kind of understand that as well, because when I came into recruitment, I'd come straight from uni. I didn't know anything really about recruitment, and when you go into a role, it's quite easy to not necessarily copy people, but kind of shadow and have them lead you into a certain way, when really you're almost giving yourself a false sense of security, because that's not actually how you are or how you act, or like you say, playing on your strengths.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's easy, like you said, to copy how other people approach things and how other people would do things. But as I said, your uniqueness is the biggest asset to that business, and probably one of the reasons why you got the job. And as I said as well, you're more likely to enjoy it if you're doing things that are to your strengths, basically.
Can you share a pivotal moment in your career journey that has made a significant impact?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I think there's probably been a few, and I think based on my last answer in terms of working to your strengths, it was definitely both have been at Skybet, to be honest. But one of them was I was basically working in CRM, so that's how I started in the business. Very much like an entry-level role. But one of the things that I really like to do is read, use my data, get a lot of research if I can get access to it. So I did do that, and I read it back to front, a bit obsessively, and found out a lot about our customers and what they want at different bands and different groups of people, and what they bet on and things like that. And then I ended up coming up with a few different ideas. At the time, I don't really know that I knew what product was in that way, as in in a tech perspective. I think I thought of products as physical things that you would buy. But so I didn't really know that I was necessarily pitching a product, but I was. I met the product team. And I guess I was just really proactive, because it was something that I was passionate about and that I was enjoying in pursuing. And then a role came up, and because I'd already met the product team and spoken to them a lot, and they liked some of my ideas and how I approached pushing those ideas forward. So I was successful. So I think that was definitely a pivotal, kind of a turning point when I got into the product team. I think again, going back to leaning on your strengths, one of my strengths is pushing things forward and not necessarily adhering to boundaries, because I think sometimes they're in place for a reason, and they're really important, and they help go quicker in a business. But the second time was when I spotted an area that we could improve in, and I basically took it by myself to get a working group together, see how we might be able to solve that problem, making sure that we definitely knew what the problem was, and then ideating, using the people around me. There's lots of really talented people, so making sure that I felt that I had a really good group. And then out of that, I don't know if you've heard of it, but has come Aka Freeze, which is a new to industry innovation. It's basically like a new way to bet. And yeah, it's been really popular with customers. We've had like over 3 million bets on this specific feature. So it's gone really well. But yeah, it just goes to show that like using your strengths, not necessarily adhering to boundaries, and
Not taking no for an answer.
yeah, like just pushing the door down, being a bit brave. Sometimes when you get pushed back, it's easy to just be like, oh, well, I'm not going to pursue that anymore. But just like stepping out your comfort zone, being a bit brave.
And as you said before about one of your strengths was looking at data, and you became, in your words, a little bit obsessive with it. But if you wouldn't have had that vision, and then push the boundaries and develop the product that's been, developed and gone to customers, if you hadn't have had that kind of mindset to be able to challenge and push the boundaries, it may have, I'm not saying your career would have taken a different turn, but that kind of standing out as a key pivotal moment for you is obviously down to how you, perceive things.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think as well, like I said, just rallying together with those different people in the business that are so talented and have so many like skills that are different to mine, like really helped with pushing things forward.
Brilliant. And then finally, how do you approach challenges and setbacks in your professional life, and what's your go-to strategy for overcoming them?
I think initially it's just accepting that there will be setbacks and there will be things that don't go your way. So I think just accepting like whatever the situation is. But then like me personally, my approach and my like mindset is that there's always a solution, there's always a way forward. Like it might not necessarily be what you wanted it to be or what you wanted it to be, but there's always there's always light at the end of the tunnel. It might sound a bit cheesy, but I get frustrated sometimes with people that are kind of like, oh well, it's not worked, so it's just not going to work. And it's like, well, it's not worked in this way, but it might work in another way.
Yeah.
Or there might be another route, or it might be that we need to like change how we're thinking about it. So I think like in products, like there's a lot of similarities that you can make to your like personal, professional career as well. In that, like with a product, like something might not work initially, but if you just test it or change it or change your mindset, then I feel like there's always a way forward.
It is definitely a mindset thing as well, isn't it? Because if you come in at the angle where it's quite pessimistic and it's, well, it hasn't worked this way, so it's not going to work. Whereas if you've got more of an open mindset and you look at kind of your circle of influence and what you can and can't control, the things that you can control is definitely your mindset. So having that more kind of open, positive mindset that just because it didn't work in this situation doesn't mean, applying it to a different situation, it doesn't mean that it's not going to work going forwards.
Yeah, and like sometimes things just won't work, but I think it's that being proactive, like thinking about like different things that you could do around the issue or around the challenge or the setback or whatever it is. Like there's always something that you can do.